Well, good morning. Welcome back to the Broadcast Retirement Network. I'm Jeff Snyder. This is BRN AM for Thursday, July 6th, 2023. And our top story today, thinking about buying a used car? Well, we've got some tips. And joining me now to discuss this and a lot more, Ray McGrath is a financial professional, but he is also a car enthusiast. Ray, thanks so much for dropping by the program again this morning.
Thanks for having me, Mr. Snyder.
You've known me for a long time, right? You can call me Jeff. But let's talk about your love of passion of cars, because I know that you have had a professional career in the financial world. But how long has your love of cars and restoring cars been around? How long have you been doing that?
So I guess you could say probably 45 years. I'm thinking, only because I read an article on this just the other day about kids in the 70s. They couldn't wait till they were eligible to get their license, and they were right at line on motor vehicles to be one of the first to get their licenses. And I think myself, and a lot of my peers, that's exactly what we did when we turned 16 and a half. I think that's when you could get your permit in New Jersey.
In New Jersey. And I think back to when I was 16. I think back high school, when you were in high school. I think you're a little bit older than I am. When you were in high school, did you have classes in shop and home ec and all that kind of stuff to learn how to change oil and do some of the things you need to do with a car?
They offered that, but I was on the college prep, course, so I didn't take any of those classes. But from having bicycles and dirt bikes and things along the, and having friends. So you kind of assimilate a lot of knowledge.
Do you remember the first car that you, I don't know, fixed up or restored, maybe is the right word? Do you remember the first vehicle that you restored, Ray?
Well, restored is it's a term that has many interpretations, but I bought a 67 Camaro because I thought it was a really sharp looking car. Seemed like a great price. This was before Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace, and I found it in the local paper. I went over there and I bought it, and within the first day, I was jacking it up to change a tire or to do something. And once I jacked it up, you couldn't open the doors any longer because the car was bending. So basically, I didn't restore that car. I ended up kind of getting rid of it or flipping it to but telling them, hey, this car is a structural nightmare. So, you live and learn. I was 17 at the time, and didn't know that cars could. I crawled under the car and I looked up and I said, "Oh, it looks good." I thought the floors looked really good, but I was looking at the bottom of the carpeting. So that's how bad this car was,
So Ray, what did you look for, or what do you look for when you're buying a used vehicle? Because today we're talking about used cars.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people either don't want or can't afford a new car,
Right.
And so they're looking out there and there's so many places to look. There's Kelley Blue Book, there's so many different websites, CarMax you can go to a dealership. So what's the first step in finding a vehicle that is solid, is going to last you a long time, is worth the value that you're going to bestow upon it?
Yeah, well, I don't think there's a magic answer, but a lot of times when I'm sitting in traffic, I look at other cars and I say, "Oh, I like that car. It seems attractive." And then what I personally do is, I'll go on the different websites, and lately I've been. This isn't a pitch, but there's a website, Car Gurus, and they kind of tell you if this is a good price or a bad price or overpriced. But I'll look at different models, see what they're going for. And then I start to consider options that I would want. Obviously, like nowadays every car has air conditioning, but maybe you want, I don't know, cooled seats, not just heated seats, but cooled seats, So, but it starts with, what kind of car would I like? What do I find meets my needs? And then I try and get an idea for what they're going for. And then I say, well, that's in or out of my price range, So that's basically how I start.
So it starts with the kind of car, it starts with price. Let's start drilling down a little bit. Carfax is a huge brand now. They have the big advertising. They're not an advertiser on this network, just for everyone's knowledge. We're not promoting them. But do you say you're going to buy a vehicle, say you're going to buy an SUV for your wife or for one of your children or for yourself? do you pull the Carfax to see if it's been in an accident and some of the other challenges it's had?
Yeah, most definitely. I think Carfax, though, it's only one tool because it's only as good as the data Carfax was able to gather. So there are some repair facilities that don't report repairs to Carfax. So it's never, listed in Carfax. But for the most part, if an insurance company had to pay for a major claim on a car, it's recorded in Carfax. Carfax will definitely tell you how many times the vehicle has changed ownership, things like that. So it's definitely worthwhile, but don't look at it as the absolute gospel and tells you everything, because not everything's reported through Carfax. But to your question, I definitely look at the Carfax because, sometimes if it's a 5-year-old car and it's had 7 owners, that could be a red flag right there, So
Yeah, I mean, does Carfax report, say you live in a flood area and the car was flooded, or the car was in a flooded area? Do you get that information that it was flooded? How about maintenance? Was it maintained? Did it get its oil changes? Did they send it to Jiffy Lube or to the dealer to get oil changes and service?
Well, so yeah, we'll take that one at a time. With the flooding, I mean, if you only have liability insurance on your car and it gets flooded, I mean, no insurance company is going to pay for it, so that never gets reported to insurance. So people might vacuum it out, dry it out, and then sell it in another state, or just try and sell it without saying it was flood damage. I've had that happen to me. As for maintenance, if you go to Jiffy Lube and if you go to the dealer, all those maintenance records are tracked. But if you're going to your independent, Snyder garage, probably not. Or if the person is doing it themselves, probably not,
Yeah. By the way, there is no Snyder. Well, there is no Snyder Garage affiliated with this network or with my immediate family. Ray, I want to take a very quick break, I should say. When we come back, we're going to talk more about buying a used car, what you need to know, and a lot more. We're going to tap into Ray's knowledge. This is our first episode of Ray's Garage. You're going to want to stay tuned right here on BRN AM. Imagine a new television network that will make you richer, healthier, and in control of your financial future. This network is for the policewoman in Nashville, Tennessee, the baker in Dubuque, Iowa, the teacher in Lexington, Kentucky. We want to make the idea of savings and retirement culturally relevant. But what do you see as a defining issue of the midterms, especially for the smaller businesses? I mean, they are the lifeblood of the American economy. Featuring exclusive interviews, current affairs, and docuseries. 33 years old, you retired early.
The philosophy is money only matters if it helps you live a life that you love.
But you got to start thinking about retirement as soon as you get in.
The Broadcast Retirement Network will drive very high engagement with premium partnerships. So this isn't retirement and savings for your parents or grandparents. This is for all Americans. And we're going to change the way you think about money. Welcome to the next frontier of retirement and savings. This is BRN, the Broadcast Retirement Network.
Are you stuck with a low credit score? A credit report and score that's causing you to be denied credit or pay higher interest rates than others for the same things? Then do what Terrence did and called Credit Repaired for your free credit evaluation to help restore your credit.
I started thinking about buying a new house, and my score wasn't where I needed it to be. I called and spoke with one of the representatives, and we just had a good conversation, and I liked what he was saying.
Just one call for his free credit evaluation was all it took to start back on the track to repairing his credit.
I'm seeing the deletions and I'm getting the report, so I know something's being done. It does make a difference to me.
All it takes is one call to get started.
Credit Repair has given me a second chance to have a better credit score.
Don't let a low credit score hold you back another day. Do what Terrence did and make the call for your free credit evaluation.
Call 800-819-4152. That's 800-819-4152. Again, 800-819-4152.
Welcome back. We're joined this morning by car enthusiast and overall great person, Ray McGrath. Ray, thanks so much for staying with us this morning. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, too. All right, Ray. A lot of used cars now are sold under the banner of a certified used car. You can get them at a, say you wanted a Lexus, but you can't afford the new one, or you don't want the new one. You want a certified used car. What does that mean? And is that necessarily a deal?
I think it is. In some ways you get what you pay for. So you pay a bit of a premium to have like the dealer certify the car, because I think what you get with that in addition is you'll get some period, 3 months, 6 months, 1 month of warranty or service. So, the dealership, they call it their checklist or what have you. They'll go over everything that they see on a car, and they'll bring it up to spec, and they make sure there's no open recalls, things like that. But so in some ways, you're getting that peace of mind by buying a car from a dealer, not a used car dealer, but a new car dealer who's selling a used car as a certified pre-owned dealership. So yeah, it comes at a price premium, but you get a little bit of peace of mind with that.
Ray, what are some areas, all these newer cars, everyone you buy now, or in the last 5 years plus, they have digital everything. They have a digital dash. They have basically a tablet now for the entertainment system or for the air conditioning. It would seem to me as a layperson that those are the first things to go. And once you're out of warranty, probably the most expensive things to pay for. What are some of the big ticket items you need to be aware of and you really need to check out before you buy that used car?
Yeah, I mean, everyone thinks it's the engine and the transmission, but really, as to your point, Jeff, a lot of it is the electronics within a vehicle. And you could probably spend, half an hour just checking to make sure everything works, because, if it's a car you're buying as is or without a warranty, you're on the hook to fix that. And I mean, I just bought a car and the tilt wheel wasn't working and it was powered. And to fix that could be several $1,000s if you would have to pay someone to fix it. So, I mean, something minor could be major. So, yeah, it's I guess you could say that I would imagine with any used car, there's going to be some problem, even if you don't see it initially down the road. So you just have to be prepared to spend a little money.
Ray, when it comes to parts and, how do you balance the OEM, the original parts, and buying it from the manufacturer versus a third party? There is some, I guess that's what the dealers are always touting. You come to us, you're going to get the original factory part. Sometimes when you go online, I remember reading Chilton's. I used to have a Jeep Wrangler, an 87 Jeep Wrangler. It was the worst car ever. Not Jeep, but it was the worst car ever. It had so many problems.
Highest resale of any car, the Wranglers, but go on.
Thank you. Now he's interviewing me, but I had a Chilton's. Manual for that, but it was really hard to find parts. And by the way, because it was originally manufactured by Jeep and it wasn't before it moved to Dodge, there were all sorts of parts in it. Not just Dodge parts, not just Jeep parts. So how do you balance that? How do you find parts? And is it important to have the OEM parts versus non-original, non-factory?
I would say it's important to have OEM, only because, I mean, I have friends who have repair shops, and even when it comes down to something as simple as an oil filter, I mean, there's a $4 oil filter and there's a $17 oil filter that the dealer uses. They recommend, my friend recommends he buys OEM quality parts just for that reason, because there's just so much that can go wrong, and you don't want to cut corners on your oil for the most part. So, but even like in the old days, Jeff, people used to upgrade their car stereos. You don't see people changing car stereos any longer, putting in a Pioneer or a Blau, whatever brand. Really, because car stereos now are tied to the vehicle by the vehicle's serial number. So you can't just pull out one out of one Ford Taurus and put it in another Ford Taurus. It probably won't work because the dealer has to use their software to activate that radio. So there's a lot of reasons to use original equipment parts.
Ray, it used to be that, well, let me ask you it used to be that when you bought a used car, you wanted to figure out if there would be car damage. I know that we talked about Carfax previously, but people used to carry a magnet in their pockets, right? And they would go and along the fender and see if there was an accident. People still do that. Do people still do that? And is it important, if you're going to buy a used car from a dealer, should you get it inspected before you buy by a third party? You happen to have a lot of mechanical knowledge, and you have a lot of experience, but the average person probably doesn't. So do you take it to a third party before you take it off that lot?
I think it is, because really, in the words of Ronald Reagan, trust but verify. I mean, they might tell you it's a great car, but bring it to an independent mechanic. Let them put it on a lift, because you can see so much more on the lift. I mean, I was watching a guy the other day. He was looking at a car and he says, "Oh, it was painted here, it was painted here." And I'm like, "No, it's all red." But he had the eye, So a trained professional, it's like buying a home inspection. If you're spending enough money, it probably is a good idea, if you can, bring it to an independent mechanic.
Yeah, we didn't even get into paint, some of the other things, filters. We'll have to do that next time. Ray, thanks so much for sharing your knowledge. Always great to see you, and we look forward to having you back on the program again very soon.
Thank you, Mr. Snyder.
And that wraps up this episode of BRNAM. Have a topic of interest, somebody you think we should talk to? Well, drop us a line. And don't forget, for all the latest curated news and lifestyle, wellness, finance, tech, so much more in all in one place, check out today's edition of our daily newsletter, The Morning Pulse. Want to search our archives, check out our latest content, visit our website, our YouTube channel, and of course, all of our streaming partners. We're back again tomorrow for another edition of BRNAM. Until then, I'm Jeff Snyder. Stay safe, keep on saving, and don't forget, roll with the changes. Now is your opportunity to co-create content around any topic on the first lifestyle and wellness network. Reach a global audience through our platform and co-own exclusive branded content. All of our programs are available on demand and also as audio-only podcasts, so you can take us on the go. Broadcast Retirement Network, available anytime, anywhere, and on any device.
Tax audits, tax liens, wage garnishments.
Every day we hear stories like this about good folks who are simply struggling to pay their bills. Each of them are living a frightening IRS tax nightmare, and they are afraid it will destroy their lives.
I'm a divorced single mom, and my ex-husband left me and the kids with a lot of unpaid bills, including unpaid taxes. I was really starting to show my stress on my kids because the IRS had sent me a letter demanding a huge payment from me. I couldn't afford it. So then the IRS was threatening to garnish my wages. I'm already living paycheck to paycheck. That would have put me over the edge financially.
It truly seemed hopeless, but then a friend at work told her to call the tax relief line.
The people at the tax relief line, they told me about something called innocent spouse relief. They worked it out so that all of the taxes from my ex are not my problem. I don't know how that works, and I don't care. All I care about is that I don't owe the IRS a dime, and they are not going to take my paycheck.
Even if it seems hopeless, you should call the number on your screen right now. There is absolutely no cost for the call or the consultation. You are under no obligation. If you are worried that the IRS could garnish your wages, seize your assets, even take your home, call us right now. The Tax Relief Line is here to help you. Now you have a knowledgeable, professional team of tax experts that are ready to negotiate with the IRS and fight for you to save you money. The Tax Relief Line's professionals have successfully negotiated thousands of cases, reducing and sometimes even eliminating the tax debt for their clients. It's very easy to get started. Simply call the number on your screen right now. You don't have to live in fear anymore. The call and the consultation are free.